This was Compass Bible Church's first ever short-term mission trip. And from a human perspective, it was a great success. And I think from God's perspective, it was as well. As a lot was accomplished and many exciting things were done. Luke led a team of 12 folks over there to share the gospel with these teenagers. And just let me test your Albanian real quick. Si ya.
Oh, mir.
Mir. Si ya is not goodbye. It's actually how are you.
Yeah, and saying mir is like saying, oh, I'm good.
I'm good. Yeah, well done. Mirë mëngjes.
I have no idea what you just said.
Mirë mëngjes, you didn't learn that one?
No, I didn't.
Mirë mëngjes to all
Luc
of you.
LeFort.
It means good morning. Yeah. And Luc LeFort means I don't speak Albanian. Good, you got that one. I got to spend a summer in Albania, so it's near and dear to my heart. But you guys had a great trip. Tell me, what are some people that were impacted, about the impact of this trip? Talk about that.
So as you can see, even in this picture behind us, we spent, I don't know if you knew a lot about the way that we prepared for this trip, but in the months leading up to going to Albania, the high school students and even us leaders that were going, we spent every Saturday morning getting to know the Albanian teenagers that we were going to visit by doing Zoom calls with them every Saturday morning. And on those calls, we had Bible discussions leading up to proclaiming the gospel to them. And so the people in this picture, apart from our team, are the Albanians that we spent those Saturday mornings with, and this is us getting to finally meet them. Some of the ones to point out to you that are of particular praise is this guy in the all black here right in the front. His name is Albi, and he for the past 6 years has been a devout Muslim. And by the grace of God, during the time that we were there, professed Christ as Lord and Savior. You can absolutely clap for that. It's amazing. And the same is true of this girl right next to Cammie in the gray dress. Her name is Frances, and she also made a profession of faith while we were there as well. And so the Lord was definitely at work while we were there. And many others in this picture. Eddie does a really good job of making sure the students count the cost. In fact, one night particularly took the students through Luke 9:23, which says, if anyone is to follow after me, let him deny himself, take up his cross and follow me. And literally asked the students each point blank, bluntly, will you follow Jesus? Will you deny yourself? And every student at that point had said no, but there were some that were saying, I want to, but there are things that I don't want to deny. And so they're seriously considering and counting the cost. And Eddie is doing a very good job of discipling them.
Yeah, so we've seen 2 come to salvation and many more who are processing and thinking about the gospel call on their life. What was one highlight experience for you and your team, Luke?
Yeah, well, if you ask anybody, there's lots of different highlights. It was a fantastic trip. I think for me personally, though, one of the biggest highlights of the trip was spending hours and hours just talking with Albi. And he's a devout Muslim, so he had very many arguments and different questions about Christianity, specifically about the Bible and the trustworthiness of the scriptures. And so for hours and hours, we discussed the Bible, and I was pulling deep into the recesses of my seminary training to answer his questions. And he kept me on my toes, which was good. But eventually I had to come to him and I said, Albi, I can be more than glad to have these conversations, to answer all your questions and your arguments. But the reality of the truth is this, is that you will never come to a saving knowledge of Jesus Christ through logic and reason alone. Hebrews 11:6 makes clear that without faith it is impossible to please God. And as a Muslim, for him, the hardest thing was to recognize and to kind of grapple with the fact that God could become man. And I told him, I'm with you. This is something that is unreasonable and illogical, that the almighty creator God would become man. And yet this is what bolsters my faith because of the great love that he has for us. He did step out of the glories of heaven to enter into humanity and to give himself as a ransom for those who he came to save. And this is a demonstration of and a revelation of God's amazing love for us. And it's apart from accepting that by faith, you cannot be saved. And after I said that, he told me, well, Luke, you just gave me goosebumps. And that later that night, after Eddie had charged all the students, will you deny yourself, take up your cross, and follow him? He eventually did say yes. He spent some time praying with a couple of people from our team. And later that night, he professed faith. And so for me, that was absolutely the highlight of the trip.
So cool. So we can be praying for Albi and Francis and the rest of them. But tell us a little bit, last question about Pastor Eddie, our supported missionary there. What's he doing? How can we be praying for them?
Yeah, Eddie is a workhorse. I mean, the man does not stop working. He very, very intentionally even ropes and includes his family into his ministry. And so, during his 9 to 5, if you could consider him that, he is only meeting with people all day long, and he spends the after hours of his whole day doing his sermon prep for each week. And
so he pastors a church.
He pastors a church.
He does an outreach ministry.
So he has that
teens.
outreach ministry where he teaches English to public school students using the curriculum as the Bible. And a lot of these students are a part of that program.
And he runs a seminary, a local Bible
and he runs a
training
seminary. It's called IBTC, the International Bible Training Center. And it's still under construction. Right now, he's doing it out of his church. The desire is later on to have a facility where he can do that, and they're in the process of constructing that. So he's got his hands in so many different things, and he just is constantly working. Very faithful man.
What a faithful servant to be praying for. Well, thanks, Luke and team, and we're going to be including in this week's Friday email another update video, or even two, so you can go deeper into seeing some videos and pictures of what's happened. So if you're not on our email list, get on it and look for that on Friday, where you can learn more about what happened with Team Albania. Thanks, Luke. We'll be praying for them here in the prayer in just a moment.
Thank you.